Episode 128 of Cal Cagnal Radio starts right now. The reason I'm whispering is because the last few times that I've been on this, I come out so strong that the levels are so loud that no matter what I do to them in post editing, I can't make them quieter. So I'm going to try to be quiet.
That's why you're a hype man.
Yeah.
That's why you got to come out. Yeah, get it up.
Wave your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care.
You got the towel. You got to get the towel out.
Seems weird that this many years into the society of hip hop, we still have not figured out anything other than wave your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care.
Right. Yeah, it is. It is odd. Or, hey, oh, hey. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that by now we'd probably come up with something different. But
really, what can gangsters do? Because because you're not going to dance because gangster rap doesn't lend itself to dancing, correct?
Right.
So you're not going to bust off like dudes aren't going to break into like b-boy groups.
Right.
And try and do a dance off. So really, when you're trying to look tough, like a gangster rapper, all you really can do is kind of like to throw your hands in the air.
Right. And get the crowd to do the work for you because you're not going to be like dancing.
Yeah.
Like really into it because everyone knows that there's two things gangsters don't do: dance and run fast, as we learned from
the Ghetto Boys.
Ghetto Boys said, "Okay, are you wearing a Finding Nemo shirt tonight? What do you got on?"
Oh, I got on a Hartford Whalers jersey.
And they're not a team anymore, right?
No, they're the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got
Speaking
nothing for that.
of Carolina, have you been watching that Netflix show?
Take your
Outer
shirt
Banks?
off. We watched the whole thing.
We're on episode 5, so don't tell me anymore.
Okay,
but
here's what I will tell.
Just started watching it.
Here's what I will tell you right now about Outer Banks is.
Well, don't tell me anything that's going to give anything away.
No, you can rest assured that all of those girls are 25 at least on the show.
Right.
So John
one
B.
kid, they're like, now look, you're 16 years old, and I'm like, 16?
He's 27.
He's 31.
Yeah, 27. John B, like the main dude, is 27 years old. So we looked him up.
About Topper.
Well, he was on a Disney Channel show. He's only 25, but he was on a Disney Channel show. Is there anybody more punchable in the world right now than Topper?
The other guy. There's Topper, and then there's the
brother of Sarah.
Yeah, the clearly racist dude.
Clearly racist, and also not all there. Could do something and go off the rails at any time.
Yes. So those two guys definitely play their parts where you just want to beat the daylights out of them.
Yes.
We like the show. We like the show a lot. It is a show that the problem with shows that you get into that are really fun and you turn your brain off because you like the show more than you want to criticize it.
Right.
But it's definitely a show that if you have your criticizing hat on.
Without a doubt.
Holes in the plot than Swiss cheese.
Well, yeah, okay. So the first overall, and those of you who haven't seen it, watch the show. It's called Outer Banks. It's on Netflix. The most glaringly obvious thing that's bad about it is the fact that this kid, who the story sort of revolves around, his name is John B. Not to be confused with the guy named John B., who was an R&B singer in the 90s.
Or Sloop John B., who the Beach Boys sing about. Grandfather and me. Drinking all night.
I'm going to tell you something.
Got into a fight.
I am going to tell you something. I don't love the Beach Boys.
Oh, I
don't.
Oh, I
like
love 'em.
God only knows what I'd be without. I just like it because they're like, and then they throw like the round, like they're like, the guy's like, God only knows. And the other guy's like, God only knows. And the one guy's like, ooh. And if you've ever seen the guy that sings that, he looks like your Uncle Bob. Like, he's got this big belly and a giant beard. And he's all like, because he's like not young anymore. God only knows is kind of the jam. But all that surfing crap, I don't get into it. All right. So anyway, so John B., it revolves around him. He is 16 years old. We're not really sure if he goes to school because he sometimes goes to school. He has no legal guardian. They smoke, they drink, they, hang out at the house.
They're the Pogues.
But they're supposedly 16 years old.
Right.
They just effortlessly, like, dude, I'm sitting here right now. I have a Dos Equis Amber, and I'm sipping it, having a good time, discussing what we're talking about. They make me look like a lightweight, the way they're just like, hey, whatever, man, we're Pogues. That's how we do, bro.
That's how we do on the Outer Banks. We don't have
and
enough money for a cell phone, but somehow we can find enough beer and drugs to entertain a small country.
Not a cell phone in sight. That's the other thing that's wrong with the show. So how many of you
exactly? What's the date on it? Like, when is it supposed to be? 2020?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Because it looks like the show could be done like early 2000s.
Okay,
so like I haven't seen anybody with like a smartphone,
right?
Nothing like that, you know.
The things that we have trouble with that show, and with this is not giving anything away.
Wait. Let's stop. So we're not going to give anything away, but if you have no clue what we're talking about, basically it's a show that just came out on Netflix. It's about these kids that go treasure hunting. They're searching for a sunken treasure.
It's called The Goonies.
Yeah. Exactly, pretty much. It's these 4 kids that are like surfers, and they live in a town that there's the rich people and then the non-rich people, the poor people.
Yeah, and it's Outer Banks, which is in
North
Carolina, like in that area. And so these guys are what Joe referenced a couple minutes ago, are called the Pogues, not to be confused with the band of the same name.
Oh, which are amazing.
Yeah, and so they're like kind of the white trash sort of not money types. They're the ones who work on the, yachts and are like the deckhands, but they don't own the yachts. And then the other side, what are those people called? The Kooks?
The Kooks.
Yeah, so the Kooks are the people who are like
Kooks have money, and then the Kooks have to pay the Pogues to do their jobs.
Remedial tasks, if you will.
Yeah.
So Outer Banks. So we watch it, but the problem that we have with it is everybody's way too old. It's like 90210 a little bit, or like Melrose or something, where like the people are clearly too old to be playing this, but they're decent at it. The drinking and the drug use is hilarious.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because it's like they're just like everything's just sort of chill. But overall, we like the show. The other thing we can't get past is that the dad of Sarah is the guy who from The Office who was in charge of the other branch. Not Scranton, but the other branch that Jim went to work at. He's the dad.
Oh, I didn't.
My daughter cannot get past this. He's got a beard, so he looks a little different.
Yeah, but my kids were like, "Oh, he's the dad from Jesse." So like,
he is the dad from Jesse.
So they connected him with that, and I don't know Jesse, so. But I wish that I had Jesse's girl.
Okay, so Outer Banks on Netflix, definitely worth watching.
Yeah, give it a watch. It's good.
And you're only halfway through?
I think we just like when you text me like, "Hey, can we go at 8:15?" I had totally forgotten about podcasting, and so it was like 5 to 8, and we still had like 10 minutes left to go, and I think episode 5.
Are the girls sitting there waiting for you to be done so that you can continue?
No.
Okay, good, because I would feel literally bad if they didn't get to feast their eyes on John B.
No,
because this dude like legitimately went from like 1,000 people following him on Instagram to being like he's the hottest thing. Pac's son, my son was telling me, can't keep like the short sleeve button-up shirts in stock because so many people are like now dressing like him.
Oh, really?
He's like a heartthrob, dude. John B.
He definitely has that look. Like every single person who is like all of the kids that are, well, quote unquote kids that are in that show, dude. They all look like actors playing the part that they were hired for, except the main guy. He looks like they went to that town and was like, "Who's that kid like cutting that person's grass? Let's hire him."
Oh, you think he doesn't look like a model?
I think he has that like, I mean,
like kind of boy next door sort of look.
Yeah, like he kind of has that look as like what the show is going for, whereas everybody else look like they're an actor that were hired to play. But like he kind of, there's a different quality about him.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying you're a fan
of the show? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good. So definitely check that one out. That one we plowed through a couple of weeks ago. It is sort of it's TV 14. So I'll just tell you, if you have like 7 or 8 year olds, it's definitely not for them because there is some swearing and some.
It's not for them. It's also not for like if you have like 12-year-old. Like if you have kids like aren't hearing language at high school yet.
Right.
Like there are some things that are talked about that, like even tonight in one of the episodes we watched, like one of the dudes said something, and I was like, "Whoa, that was out of left field."
Yeah,
and they had like a little discussion about something, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm reaching for the remote to
fast forwarded through one of the parts that I don't even know if you got to it yet, but there was definitely like I was like, "All right, we get the gist of what's going on right now. We get it.
Yeah.
We're good. We just went ahead and fast forward." Okay, so you brought up Jesse a second ago, and I'm wondering if we can talk about a show, Outer Banks, that many people have seen, but probably not everyone has. And now I'm going to jump to another movie.
Okay.
And I want to ask you a question. Have you ever seen the High School Musical franchise?
Yes, I like it a lot.
Because we watched High School Musical 2 last night. So we've seen all the High School Musicals, literally, including the TV show that we spoke about the other day.
I love the first one. Like, I love High School Musical 1. Love it. It's a classic. The second one is okay. The third one, I don't think I'm a fan of because I don't really remember it all that much.
Yeah, so here's what you got to know about those movies. And we actually looked this up, so I know this. First one is a Disney Channel movie. It came out just like any of the other movies that they had on TV. It was a TV show, had commercials in it. The second one was sort of piggybacking how well the other one did. So they spent a lot more money on it. The story's pretty not real good. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the third one came out at the movies, and the budget for it is like 12 to 15 times more than any of the other ones. Okay. So Efron got paid $100,000 for the first one and $6 million for the third. So that should just tell you how much of a bigger production.
Which that's more than I make in a year.
Yeah, he got, for one movie, he got $6 million. You have to work all year and you don't even make $6 million.
Right.
That's amazing. I love that joke. That joke never gets old.
And when you deadpan it, people get so confused.
Yeah, when you're like, oh my God, Bill Gates. Wait a second.
Like, when you look, like they'll like look at the other people who are standing around, like, is this guy serious?
Yeah, of course that's more than you make in a year.
That's more than you make in a year. But go on.
Anyways, so we were watching the thing the other day because Efron's somebody that both my wife and I can agree on. Like, I think he seems like a good dude. My wife,
he seems like a great dude. I would hang out with him in an instant.
Yeah, and my wife, of course, loves how easy on the eyes he is. Even now, like, we watched part of a interview the other day, and he was like, "Dude, I'm totally fine with High School Musical." He's like, every once in a while, someone will meet me, and they'll just be like, looking at me like kind of jittery, and he's just like, so I just say like, High School Musical, and they're like, yeah. So anyways, tell me about Troy Bolton. Like, he just wants to talk. He's like, everyone wants to talk about it. He goes, but I'm not ashamed of it. So if you ever see me out and you want to talk about High School Musical, I am not ashamed of it. He goes, I was not a great day.
My go-to for Zac Efron, if I was sitting next to him on an airplane,
dude, you might as well go ahead, say it.
Greatest Showman.
Really? No, 17
Greatest
again.
Showman.
17 again is the best movie he ever did.
Greatest Showman's fantastic.
Okay,
Him and Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya, I'm a big fan of.
On-screen chemistry.
Dude, it was palpable. All right, so anyways.
Right there. That's a $5 word.
Thank you very much. Anyways, so is Sharpay Evans a good guy or a bad guy? Because they cannot keep this crap straight, and I have an issue with it. I can't understand what they're trying to do. So go ahead.
I completely agree 100%. Yes, she was like the antagonist person. This is what I don't understand. She's like the antagonist person who learns her lesson at the end.
Every time.
So she learns her lesson like, no, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And they have the big ending number. Why was I ever mean to these people? We're all in this together. Then the second movie starts and she's back to being a jerk that summer.
And the whole summer she's a jerk.
At the end.
Yeah, and then at the end, like, as we watched that one last night, we realized at the end, her brother turns on her, all the Wildcats turn on her. She was supposed to sing in the big, like, finale at the Club Lava, or whatever it was called, Lava Springs, and they double cross her, and she doesn't get to sing. And then they all sing together. He reaches out his hand, brings her up on stage. She's all cheers, all happy, singing background, and she's happy again. And then the very last scene, she's walking on the golf course as a group. She's happy. And like you said, hit it with High School Musical 3. She walks in for day one of school, and she's a bitch again.
Yeah. Yep. I don't get it at all. I did not get it. I was just like, Come on. It was like when you used to watch Transformers, the cartoon, and in every episode, if you think about it, the Transformers never really beat the Decepticons, right? The Autobots never beat the Decepticons. It was always Starscream who double-crossed Megatron. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you're right.
Like you would all like the next one always starts where, you know, the next like Transformers would always start where like the bad guy King, his plan would go through if it wasn't for one of his henchmen like screwing it up. And that's how I feel about, well, that's a really big stretch. I realize.
That's how you feel about High School Musical?
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's
dude, we've seriously, by the way, we've really traded in our man cards today that we started with Outer Banks and went directly into Sharpay Evans and had like a little legit discussion. Now, people listening, if you don't have children and have never seen this movie, you have no clue what we're talking about. But imagine the story arc of every movie where the guy's kind of or girl is a bitch or an a-hole the whole time. And then at the end, they learn their lesson and they realize, you know what? I shouldn't act like that because that's not the right way to be. Now, imagine they did that 3 times with the same character, and every time she has to learn her lesson. So I was just trying to, and Wendy and I today were legitimately like, man, this girl doesn't learn her lesson.
No,
she doesn't know.
Not at all. And her brother doesn't help at all.
No.
Like that whole family, they therapy. They need therapy lessons, the musical.
Yes, they should do that. So we watched that last night. You know what I did today, though? Guess what I got to do today? I did something I haven't done in a month and a half. Out of the gutter. Out of the gutter.
I don't know what.
I'm teeing you up. I was alone. I was alone by myself and got to watch Family Guy for 40 minutes today. By myself.
You just lay there in silence is what
I loved it. I laid on the couch. Okay, so what happened was Wendy went over to her sister's house to drop something off. She took the dogs with her so the dogs could run around in my sister-in-law's backyard. Grant was over working out at the track, like running on the track.
Okay.
And I started to do the math, and it was like a beautiful mind where all of a sudden, you know, like I could see the Pythagorean theorem or whatever it's called. What is it?
Pythagorean theorem.
Nice. Pythagorean
theorem.
Pythagorean theorem.
The reason I say it like that is because the teacher that once taught me the Pythagorean theorem had a lisp.
Oh, that's not good. That's not
so it was
easy.
Like Sylvester the cat, like he was like Pythagorean theorem. I was like,
people had to back up. They're like, "Hey, say it, don't spray it. Am I right?
Say it, don't spray it. I want the news, not the weather."
You know, it was like the kid who later on came out as gay, and you're all like, "We all probably should have figured that out." It was like, "Seriously, Mr. Sauvé, say it, don't spray it. Am I right?"
The first 2 rows, it's like a Gallagher concert. First 2 rows have like garbage bags on.
Never forget that Gallagher did the bit about like smashing watermelons and then cantaloupes, and
like
then his brother came out, stole his whole act.
Yep.
And they sued each other.
Yeah. Yep.
He did the whole act.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Both of them looking like Doug Henning. Remember Doug Henning? He was a magician who looked just like him with a big, long black mustache and wore like jumpsuits. He was always on the Muppet Show, Doug Henning. Look him up.
I don't remember him. I have the Muppet Show on DVD.
Let me see if I can show you a picture of Doug Henning. Anyways, they both look like that. But yeah, don't ever forget that they sued each other. Gallagher and his brother.
Did they sue each other, or did Gallagher sue his brother for stealing his act?
Truthfully, I don't know.
What's the other guy have to sue for?
Counter-suing.
For punitive damages.
Look at Doug Henning.
Oh, I've never seen that guy before in my life. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Look
Doug
at that.
Henning. There he is.
Look at that crop of hair.
You can tell he's doing magic because he's got his hands like that. Right? I mean, like, what else would he be doing? Touching like a hot fire. He's got his hands to the side like, ooh. Looking at the camera like, look at me, I'm doing magic. So I started to do the Pythagorean theorem, and I realized I was going to get to be home alone, and I legitimately have never been happier. Well, okay, I've been happier in my life, but for the last 2 months, I've been around people 24/7. It was so nice. Yeah. So I sat down, I watched 30 minutes probably of a Family Guy episode. Then I sat on the toilet for 10 minutes and no one knocked on the door or asked me anything. Like no one asked me to kill a spider or to change a light bulb or if they could. It was great.
I had one of those moments last Thursday because I had my girls for like 5 days, and then my girls went back with their mom, and then Molly and Evelyn were gone, and I was just like, I'm home alone.
Yeah.
And I just like sat in my bed in total silence and read a comic book.
Yep. Like, there you go.
That's what I did.
Hey, did anybody ridicule you for liking a comic book?
Later.
Yeah, well, later they did. Yeah, it's like the day when I knew I needed some time by myself. I don't know if I told you guys this story yet, but I learned to do the Rubik's Cube under 2 minutes. I'm still working to go faster, and so I can do it on here or whatever. Like anybody wants to watch me do that. But anyways, one day I was
riveting for people that are just listening.
They just hear clickety clack, clickety clack, clickety clack. Wait. Anyways, and I was trying to figure out how to do the 6-sided Rubik's Cube. No, 5, because it was 2 more than the 3 that I know how to do.
You could say whatever you want.
No, but the point is, I was
care.
watching a YouTube video on how to do it, and I thought nothing of it. And then like 4 hours later, Grant was like, yeah, like Dad trying to figure that out. And I go, what? Wendy had taken a photograph over my shoulder of me watching on YouTube and sent it to my children. Was like, look at Dad hanging out with his Rubik's Cube friends.
Oh, I think you told us this exact story 2 episodes ago. Yeah.
Well,
you told us
the bald spot, didn't I? I already said this, didn't I?
You did.
Let the juniors out! I told this whole story?
You said that whole story.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Because last episode was Rodman, like the whole time. It was just like, and then the one before that, you told us that story. And we discussed it.
Oh, I had a bald spot too. She told me I had a bald spot.
Yep. Yeah. And then what's her name? Morgan came in and was like, "Oh, are you talking about that?" And like pointed to like a different part of your head, and you're like, "What?" Yeah.
All right. Let's keep going.
Now,
episode. What's that?
Here's something I want to ask you.
Is this is this on the podcast or not?
Yeah, this is going. We'll keep this going.
No, well, hang on. I gotta reset it.
Okay. But leave all that in.
Episode 128 of Cal Cagno Radio.
You guys gotta get it in. He's gotta get it in. He's a professional.
Well, yeah. I gotta make sure I do it right.
Let's let him start the segment again. So we'll do it again. I'll be quiet this time.
You're not gonna be quiet. I know it. I met Rodman. Episode 128 of Cal Cagno Radio continues now. I would just like to say a band that doesn't get their due before you get to what you want to say.
Oh, let's talk bands, man.
New Found Glory. What? How dare you?
They're okay. Like
I think they're really good.
If they come on, like if you have like a mix on like a playlist and they're on the playlist, I'm not skipping forward.
Right.
But in the last, I would probably say in the last 20 years. No, because they came out like 20 years ago. I would say in the last 15 to 18 years, I at no point have I been like, I'm going to put on a New Found Glory CD.
Yeah, maybe you're right, but I did hear, I'm leaving you tomorrow, but she's already left. She, you know that song? On my own again. That's what she said. 32 seconds too long with my singing.
No, but like if that song, like I said, if it came out on like a playlist, I'd be like, oh, I remember this, but I don't actively seek out New Found Glory.
Okay, well, I think
it's good. Like, I think it's their like their lead singer, like his nasally voice. It does it, even though I do like Tom from Blink, like that early Dude Ranch album.
I feel like that's a different thing. Like, it's kind of like saying, like, well, you know, this guy sounds like this, although I do like Bowie. Like, Bowie, and I'm not saying that Tom DeLonge's David Bowie, but I'm just saying there's some people who just do something and that just works for them, but yet if everyone else did it, it just doesn't.
Yeah. I think the only time, like, you can put your hand down.
Like Alien Ant Farm. Like Alien Ant Farm.
Yeah.
Like Trapped.
Right. But Now that I think about it, I did. You know when Stranger Things came out, like the Never Ending Story song?
Yeah,
Was
between the two kids.
yeah, it became like real big in pop culture. So like my girls were like singing it, and I was like, oh, Newfound Glory did a version of like a punk
Yeah.
version. So I played that. So
They're like,
I
shut
lied.
up, ass.
So I did lie in the last 15 to 18 years. No, I guess it's
Doesn't
been
count.
like the
That's a
last
cover.
two.
That's a cover. It doesn't count.
I sought it out for that song.
Do you know who sings that? Did we ever go over who sings the original? Lamar.
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
That's his name. Not to be confused. He was from Kajagoogoo. Not to be confused with Lamarck, who was the best thief ever in Ocean's 12.
Yes.
That was, spoiler alert, Zeta Jones' dad, Lamar.
And not to be confused with Lamar Odom, who married a Kardashian, who did a bunch of cocaine, and then had 6 heart attacks.
Yeah, he had like many heart attacks at a whorehouse, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Not the Bunny Ranch.
Correct.
But at a whorehouse.
Right.
But yeah, I think that Newfound Glory, I heard him today and I thought to myself, you know what? This is good. I saw the other day that Mark from Blink, did we talk about him doing the round robin thing? No. Somebody had sent Mark like a bracket you would do for March Madness. Somebody sent him that of all the Blink songs ever. And he's like, before you guys all email me or, at me on Twitter, I took 10 seconds. Like, I didn't think about these. It was like I saw the 2 songs. I picked which ones I thought were the best. And for the record, the one that he said was his favorite Blink song, through the round robin. What do you think it was?
All the Small Things.
No. So the finals were between Feelin' This.
Okay.
And what he wrote is YEAD. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, why does it say Yed? The voice inside my Yed. He had called it Yed the whole time because the way Tom says head in I Miss You. So I Miss You was the number 1 song that he picked.
Really?
No, I'm sorry. Feelin' This was number 1. It beat I Miss You. Feelin' This.
Wow. I think the only reason I would think that would happen is because I feel like after when he left Blink, well, he didn't leave Blink. When he did Boxcar Racer,
Mark, did I say Tom? I meant to say Mark did this. Did I say Tom?
Yeah, you said Tom.
I apologize. Mark was the one who did this.
Okay.
Because I don't think Tom even acknowledges he was in Blink anymore.
Oh, he totally does.
Oh, he does?
Absolutely he does.
Oh, see, I haven't seen what he's up to besides, of course, the things you hear about him with the aliens. He found one.
Well, he does Angels and Airwaves. They're in the studio right now recording another album.
Okay.
Then he has his Academy to the Stars, which is what he does where he helps figure out the truth with UFOs.
Yeah.
But then it's also like an animation, books, all that type of deal. But he's 1,000% is good from all my reading, from all the interviews I've seen and stuff. He's good with Blink. It's just the schedules don't mix. So when they brought in Skiba from Alkaline Trio, the reason they did that is they were like, well, we want to go. They either wanted to do an album, I think the California album. Yeah. They wanted to do that. And he was like, I can't. I'm filming this TV show. Mm-hmm. Like, I just can't do it.
Well, I had heard.
Like, all right, well, this is our timeline that we want it. He couldn't be a part of it. So that's the only reason. But I'd like follow him on Instagram and stuff. And like, they're always commenting on each other's stuff. Like the guys from Blink comment on his stuff. He posts Blink stuff. So
that's
yeah,
good.
No,
I didn't know that. Okay, because I had heard that the last meeting that they had, and I read a thing from Travis that just said the last meeting when they knew it was time to call it quits with Tom was that every one of them had a lawyer present at a meeting. And he said, this is not what the way this started.
Right.
Like, this is not what started, when we did all the small things and we were running around and, they had the, midgets on or little people or dwarves or whatever we decided a couple of weeks ago on the MTV
just
Movie Awards.
Names. Just their names.
I don't know their names.
They're just people.
Well, listen, when they did all the small things, they had people on trampolines dancing around.
Yeah, they're just people.
Yeah.
They're just people. You wouldn't say, yeah, they had that 5'7" grocer that was standing out on the corner that threw his grapefruit up in the air. Like,
Where they ran by naked?
yeah, height doesn't matter, Cal.
Right. Okay.
They're just
Sorry.
people.
Okay. So anyways, they had those people.
Yeah,
during all the small things.
I think all that lawyer stuff though happened. I'm pretty sure like after Angels and Airwaves' first album,
right?
Like, things did get dicey.
Yeah,
I know they've worked everything out.
I had Mark on the show one time, and we got talking about Tom, and I actually said on the air, like, how do you feel about the fact that you go from him doing, all the small things and doing kind of like a pop punk version of Blink to now he's wearing like, a scarf and an ascot and doing like spirit fingers. The look on his face was like he started to laugh, and he goes, just shook his head and put like, no, I can't talk about it. And then we got off the air and he goes, dude, when you hit me with, because I was doing like Napoleon Dynamite when he's doing, for those of you who can't see me right now, I'm doing like, like a butterfly
with your hands. Yeah.
But he was just like, looked at me like, oh, bro, don't go there. Because everything's magic.
That first Angels and Airwaves video, that is hard to stomach. I'm a huge Angels and Airwaves fan.
Yeah, me too.
They're one of my top 5 bands of all time.
Me too.
I love them. I think I love them more than Blink.
Right.
And that first video, that very first video where like what he was making fun of in like past Blink videos, he was doing for like reels.
Yeah.
Like he had that long hair. Like he had Justin Bieber hair before there was Bieber hair,
right?
That went so far down. It was like if Justin Bieber in 1983 Tony Hawk had a baby.
There you go.
That was his hair, and then he's like in the white shirts, and I'm like,
yeah, but he wore like a scarf and like would be like.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it was just like, dude, what is he doing? And like you said, had he not been like clowning on that type of behavior before, like when they were in the Small Things video, I don't know if you remember that, but they were in like the airplane hangar, and they're like,
all like the Backstreet Boy videos and all that stuff.
But they were like clowning on people, and now he's doing it. The thing I love about Angels and for real, Angels and Airwaves was my favorite. Was that they would just be like, hey, like a normal song has like a 10-second ramp up before they start singing. He's like, 3 minutes.
Right. That is the beef that like I said, I love Angels and Airwaves, but every song starts with this like huge like it's this huge
epic
beginning.
Thing. It's just waiting for high school football players to run out.
Yeah. It's like it's one thing if it's the first song on the album.
Yeah.
But when you skip forward to the 7th song on the album and it's a $1:30 intro.
Yeah,
it's come on, Tom. I know you learned how to play guitar for this, but let's dial it down.
I love it. All right, so before we started getting on here, you had something you wanted to bring up, and I apologize, I cut you off to talk about.
I can't remember what it was now.
Was it about Chris Carrabba and why Dashboard Confessional is still very good?
They are good.
I know,
dude. I think I even told you on this show about maybe like 5 months ago, I got in like a Dashboard Confessional, like, I don't want to say funk because that makes it sound bad.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
But like every day for a week, that's all that was playing in my car was just that first Dashboard. The first album's the only good one. I'm going out on that.
You think though you don't like the stuff he did.
Your hair is everywhere.
That is the jam.
Oh, it's
that is a good one. Let me tell. Well, what do you think the top song? I'm gonna look on Spotify right now. What do you think the top songs by Dashboard are?
See, it's weird because the songs aren't named after like
hands down.
What would
hands
be
down? Which is the one you're talking about? Hands down, this is the best day I ever.
Oh, the one I was just singing is called
Screaming Infidelities.
Yeah,
that's 4, by the way. So Vindicated. Vindicated, I am helpless, I am wrong, I am right, I know I'm right.
Wow, you really know all these lyrics.
Dude, I was a big fan. And then I met him for the first time, and I was like, ugh, I don't really like him very much because he was kind of like not the nicest person. Then flash forward to like when he did that tour with Taking Back Sunday. So it was Dashboard and Taking Back Sunday. So like everyone's high school years. This was probably 4 years ago. No, wait, I'm trying to think. It was before I was off ADNX. So it was probably 5 years ago. They wanted to have him on my show with one of the guys from Taking Back Sunday. So I had done a bit on the show, and you never listened, so you probably never heard it. But we did this thing where it would be like,
were you on during Dave and Chuck the Freak?
I was on the same time as them.
Okay, yeah, I was probably listening to Dave.
Oh, let's talk about Mother's Day for a second.
No, so go on about him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking because I was going to go back at you now. I was going to be like, so how do you handle Mother's Day with your ex-wife? Anyways,
with current wife and her ex-husband living. That's the dig. That's the dig.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Like I was thinking, like you're like, hey, are you in your dining room tonight? I'm like, yeah, but only a little longer because Molly's probably going to be home soon. Nope, she's still not home.
She's at her ex-husband's house.
She's at her ex-husband.
He's not there. He's not there for the record.
No, he's not there. He's in Chicago.
Yeah, and you used to listen to Dave and Chuck the Freak. Anyways, you're like, still do. Anyways, so we had him on the show, and we used to do this bit called "Is it Cal's Diary or is it is it from an emo song?" So legitimately, it was crap that I wrote in my diary when I was like in college, and it was so sappy and so bad. And callers had to call in and guess if it was like an emo song or if it was from. And it always was funny. Like people, and every time people got it wrong because I was so sad.
You journaled in college?
Oh yeah, you don't know this?
Oh, dude,
I got to show you some of this stuff. So bad. A lot of it has to do with Wendy. It's so much drama.
Oh, that's
I just love Wendy so much, but I push her away. I don't know what's wrong with my heart, my soul. I would write like song lyrics that I made up.
Oh no!
Because you're everything in my head when I'm laying in bed tonight. So I would hit people with this on the radio, and people be like, "There's no way that's from The Used or that's so and so," and you're like, "Nope, that's my diary."
Oh,
so we had Chris Carrabba from Dashboard, and the lead singer from Taking Back Sunday, which I should know his name off the top of my head, but let me look it up. Taking Back Sunday. He was such a good guy, and I cannot remember his name.
The Lord. He wants to take back his Sunday.
Adam. So Adam was the lead singer for Taking Back Sunday. So we had the two of them on, and we played the game. Is it Cal's Diary or is it one of your songs? So I had Carrabba had to guess if it was a Taking Back Sunday song, and then the Taking Back Sunday guy had to guess. Dude, I swear to you, Carrabba. One of them, Carrabba goes, "That's my song." And I go, "No, it's my diary." He goes, "Oh my God, can I buy that off you? Because this is so sappy." He goes, "Why were we not best friends in the 90s or whatever?" And dude, when he said, I just like, he was such a good sport. He was so in on the joke that like, maybe a few years have passed since the height of his popularity. But hey, if people are going to, show up and it's like, "You're calling too late."
Oh, so good.
Calling too late. Yeah, I mean, so he was very much in on the joke, but yeah, dude, Joe, sometime I will bust out some of the things that
heck yeah,
so bad.
Heck yeah, I got it.
If I could do what I used to, I know you would come back and I'd forgive you. What?
Are you sure these weren't Mode songs?
No, they didn't make it onto the Mode record.
Oh,
isn't that terrible?
Oh, you were saving those for the second album.
So, anyways, yeah. So that was a bit. So I always like Carrabba because he ended up being a really good guy. Like and he sent me a note afterwards and was just like, "Hey, that was so fun having us on. Thank you so much. If you want to come to the show." And I was like, "I'm busy."
You're like, "I'm busy. I'm waiting for the New Edition manager to text me back."
He blocked me, dude.
I know.
It's official.
I know.
Yeah,
hey, it's all right.
No, it's not all right. It's not all right. New Edition's manager definitely blocked me. All right. How was Mother's Day?
Mother's Day was good. No, my Mother's Day, I went over to my mom's on Saturday and we did ribs. So we smoked ribs all day, had like a little bonfire. And then here's something I'm gonna give a free plug for a business in the area.
Got it, please.
So on Mother's Day, obviously places are closed, right? We're all in quarantine. So there's a place at 13 and Woodward called Brown Iron Brewery. And so they did like a Mother's Day box that you could purchase. And it had brunch and it had dinner like in the box. And I think the box was like $80. And
it fed one.
Yeah, no, it
was
fed,
like $80 per person. It was reasonable.
It was reasonable. It was palatable. And so it came with, okay, so basically what it was, I was going to say I'll run go get the piece of paper, but
it's okay. You can paraphrase it. It's okay.
So it was a mimosa bar. So in this box that they gave you, so you ordered it, you picked it up on Saturday, and then they gave you the instructions and stuff to heat it all up on Sunday. So the brunch was they gave you 2 things of fresh squeezed orange juice, a bottle of Prosecco to do mimosas, fruit for like a fruit salad. They did a blueberry French toast, like crumble thing with this like cream sauce.
I like everything you've said so far.
Yeah. And then Brown Iron Brewery, the actual place, is a barbecue. It's like a barbecue
Where is
joint.
This place?
It's at 13 and Woodward, like in the new built area.
Oh, over by Wahlburgers?
Yeah, it's like right next door to Wahlburgers.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's a barbecue place that's also like does their own microbrews, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it was the fruit salad, the mimosas, this French toast thing. Then they gave you like a bunch of strips of like thick cut bacon.
Yeah.
And that was like already like double smoked. And then you just put it in and like bring it up to heat, the temp to what it says. And that was breakfast.
Nice.
Then for dinner, it was
knockwurst.
They did this big thing of like.
I just hit you with knockwurst and not even a smile.
No, there was no knockwurst in it. There was a big thing like a homemade like loaf of bread that they cut in half down the middle, packed it with like cheese, garlic butter to make this like amazing garlic bread. There was that. There was Caesar salad, and then this pesto cheese barbecue chicken tortellini.
Okay.
Freaking ridiculous. Like freaking ridiculous.
How did you find out that this place was doing this?
They like posted a guy I know, a friend of mine from a job when I used to work in Detroit. His family, it's his family's.
Okay.
And so things like pop up on my Facebook, and then Molly had seen it, and we were gonna do one of those Mother's Day boxes from the Whitney, but we did one of those on Easter, and it was just the same food.
Right.
So we were like, yeah, we already did
that.
But
it was literally the same food from Easter. They were just like, listen, this shit's gonna go bad. Listen, if you could please take this off our hands. Yep. It's just gonna go bad.
So people, you gotta try if you're looking for something new, and they're open, I think, Tuesday through Saturday or Tuesday through Sunday.
What's it called? Hit it again.
It's called Brown Iron Brewery. And like right now you can call in and order like ribs, you can get burnt ends, burgers, mac and cheese, like all that stuff. And then you can get growlers to go too.
Okay. So you did that and it went well.
Yes, we did that and it went fantastic. Like it was so good. There was so much food. I ate it yesterday for lunch, and then I ate it today for lunch, and Ella had some too. So there's probably enough for 6 people to eat.
That's awesome.
People. Oh, it was fantastic. So try that place. It's good.
Yeah, I wanted to do something similar, like because Wendy always every year wants to go for like a Mother's Day brunch, and every year I forget to make reservations. And then like Thursday before, I'm like, "Hi, I'm calling to find out if you have any reservations available for brunch," and they're all like, "Is this a joke?"
Like, snicker at you.
They're like, "Is this a joke? Is this Crank Anchors?"
Right. Let me guess. You've been married over 12 years.
So this year, she sent me this thing she saw on Fox 2 News or Facebook or something, and it was over Blake Cider. So Blake Cider Mill was having something similar where you would get like pancake batter, you get cider and donuts, you get mimosas. They make a mimosa, which I don't know. It must have cider in.
Well, I don't know how they could just make a normal mimosa too, right?
No, it comes in a can.
Oh.
Yeah, it came in a can.
Like a Blake's hard apple cider mimosa?
Yeah, like I was very confused by it. I mean,
I'd like
it
to try it.
it said I would try it too.
Yeah.
But of course, I called Tuesday and was like, "Hey, I'd like to find out how that works. Am I supposed to pick it up?" And they were like, "Oh, we're sold out." I was like,
Yeah.
"Son of a mother!"
Yeah.
Even in quarantine, I screwed this whole thing up.
Yeah.
So I ended up making homemade cinnamon rolls from scratch. I got up at 7:00 in the morning. I ended up making mimosas here. I had a splitting headache by about 11:30 because I was like,
Right.
"Wow, we just drank a whole bottle of champagne by 11:30 and
Right.
2 gallons of orange juice." So
Right.
my head was just pounding.
And then you got heartburn and canker sores. That's what drinking all those mimosas gets you. A headache, heartburn, and canker sores.
Yeah, just remember the last time I was drinking orange juice and vodka. Remember what happened?
Oh, yeah.
The famous story about,
Yes.
where I would
Yep.
walk down the hallway. But yeah, so you got to see your mom. We went to my mom's house and like stood in her garage. It was like, hey,
That sounds
happy
like
Mother's Day. We're standing in the garage.
She's like, you're not wearing your mask. You're like, oh, sorry.
Speaking of not wearing masks, I'm not trying to get political here, but I stood in line behind somebody at
V for
Trader Joe's.
Vendetta mask. No, I don't mean to get political.
Eyes wide shut.
Yeah.
He was wearing eyes wide.
Anonymous.
Can you imagine being an anonymous mask? I'm like, I think he was being political, but I don't know. They called him V. Hello, my name is V. Remember how, do you remember that movie, V for Vendetta, which in our head is way better than it really is? I'm sorry, it's not as good as you remember.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in probably.
I watched it within the last year. I got about 20 minutes in, and I was like, I don't know if I can get. What I couldn't get past was the fake British accent by Portman.
Okay.
And then the fact that, they clearly dubbed in that guy's voice because the person who was acting was doing all sorts of crazy hand gestures. And then he was talking in such a way. I'm V, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, you put it in after the fact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it just wasn't as good as I remember. But anyways, so the guy in front of me, though a couple of days ago, I'm at Trader Joe's of all places waiting in line. And he's the guy who doesn't wear the mask and then wants to proclaim why he's not wearing the mask, which we all gathered why you weren't wearing the mask. You just don't believe that Corona's real and that you love Donald Trump, which I can tell by the shirt that says I love Donald Trump. He gets about 3 feet from the guy in front of him and his wife pulls him back. He throws his hands up in the air and he goes, "Oh, I'm not 6 feet away. Why don't you call the cops? Someone should arrest me." And I'm just like, dude, do you have to?
It's them. I've seen people on all ends of the political spectrum.
Without a doubt.
Nonsense.
Without a doubt. And just for the record, I am not saying if you believe this thing is a hoax, I'm not saying you have to wear a mask if you don't want to. I'm not saying, but it is so weird to me how polarizing this whole thing has become.
Here's a crazy thing. I was talking about it with my kids today. Do you realize that none of the governors, any of those orders are still in effect? In the state of Michigan, you could go to michigan.gov right now. Go to michigan.gov. You could click on coronavirus and go down to orders, governor's orders, whatever.
Whatever the law part of it.
Yeah. And every single thing has been canceled except for the extension of taxes. There's 5 of them out of the 30.
But why?
But the congregating, if your church wants to hold service again, it can do it. That order's done. So all these things, I think it was the state of Michigan's Senate or something vetoed her decree.
Uh-huh.
And so none of them but these 5 are. There's 30 of them. 5 of them are still there. The rest are gone. And
oh, really?
I'm not joking. This isn't I didn't check my facts. Anybody now can plug in, go to michigan.gov and do exactly like I said. You click on the big microscopic zoomed in coronavirus, atom or whatever that thing is. And then click on it. And then it says
it's a neutron.
Yeah, there's a list and it says orders. Click on it and it'll tell you all the orders that have been in effect for the whole quarantine, the shelter in place, all that stuff. None of that is going. So if you're like I said, if you want to hold a barbecue in your backyard, if you want to throw your daughter a party and have a 16th birthday party, have a pool party, nothing can happen to you. Like that, all those orders and stuff are no longer valid.
Right.
So like I said, the only ones that are like there's one about like hospitals. There's one that like the taxes being moved to like, July for tax day. Like that's still in effect. Like kind of ones like that. But all the ones as far as people mingling and doing whatever they want, like a restaurant could open if they want to. Yeah.
Okay.
Like when you read through this thing, like a restaurant can open. Now, mind you, they might not be able to open at full capacity.
Right. Yeah.
But you could do like every other table. But like nobody's talking about it. Like that's not on the news.
Well, no, I know. I don't know the whole story. All I know is that this guy was very much loudly proclaiming why he wasn't wearing a mask, which I was just like, dude, I just, you know what, dude, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, whether you're in the middle, just shut up. I don't care. Like, you're not going to, and here's my thing. You're not, dude, in line at Trader Joe's going to win me over to your side no matter what side you're on.
Like, guys, he's making a good point. And then you take your mask off. Then you two drop dead 10 minutes later. Like, I don't get it.
Everybody, he's making some valid points, don't you think? Yeah, no,
I'm going to be honest with you on the show. Like, I don't really believe in this whole thing anyway. But guess what I do? I go out in public and I put on a mask.
Right.
Because if it's going to make other people feel safe or whatever, putting on a mask isn't a big deal. I totally don't believe in it. I think this whole thing is kind of hooey at this point, but
okay,
whatever. I digress.
Yeah. It's interesting. So that this guy did this, and I was just like, oh yeah. And then this morning we're walking, and this dude, like, once again, you know how I make things weird with everybody. Like, you guys all know that. Like, when I see somebody, I'm like, I probably shouldn't talk to that person. And I'm like, well, might as well talk to that person. I walk up to this guy. He's like doing like roofing or something, and I'm like, hey, bet you feels good to be back to work. Wendy looks at me like, why are you talking to this dude? Like, so he looks up and he goes, well, I was essential the whole time, and kind of gives me like a wink, like wink, wink, I was essential. And I'm like, dude, I'm not the feds. Like, first of all, I never knew if this non-essential versus essential was a offense you could be arrested for, or if it was just a general, like, maybe you shouldn't work. So that I never knew. Okay. So this dude was like, yeah, I've been working the whole time, whatever. And he goes, looks both ways as if he's about to tell some racist joke, which he didn't. He looks both ways and goes, there's a lot of people that want Whitmer gone out of office. And for those of you who can't see me, he does like a throat slashing like sign. Out of office. And even Wendy, as we're walking away, was like, I don't think when you say someone's getting fired or removed from office, this is the sign that you do. Like, I was just like, dude, you don't even know me, bro. Like, we don't know each other. But I guess by talking to him, I've decided that we know each other.
Oh, yeah, because you opened your yap.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I decided to talk to this guy, and I shouldn't have. Shouldn't have said a word.
Just stay in your lane, bro.
I know. And you realize,
talk to your wife.
You realize,
keep your head down.
Word for word, what I said about the first guy.
And go get your almond butter.
The first thing, organic peeps. The first thing that I said was this guy was talking to a bunch of strangers. Then the second thing I said was I was talking to a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
Send in the clowns. They're already here. Who let the juniors out? Who let the juniors out?